Shouldn't say that, but All right. Oh, I have to go to the first page of my notes. Okay, so today we are going to talk about how to study for tests. So I have a few things to go over, or like 4 main topics, basically. So something I suggest is that after every class you have is that you'll rewrite your notes into a designated notebook for that class. And make sure to, one, you could just have it in one color. And if you're not a person who likes to use color during your notes, don't like to have color coordination, then I suggest writing in a blue pen because blue tends to help your brain remember things more. But if you like to use color, then you could either like have different color highlighters, or you could have different color pens. Okay. Let's put these back to where they were. And the way I use my colors are by having a certain color for definition, having a certain color for headings or subheadings, having one color for, what was I going to say, place, people, events, dates that I would need to remember. But if it's something that, like a teacher said, I need to remember this, that's where I'll highlight it. And usually I would highlight it green because, I don't know, green's just been my color lately for highlighting. So yeah. And what else? Okay, so if you have to remember definition, words, same as definition, people, place, things, events, or examples, because sometimes your teacher gives you an example to help you on something, I suggest using flashcards. And you could have different sizes of flashcards depending on what you like. And what you could do with these flashcards is actually make it a little game. So once you have your word, your place, event, whatever you have here, and then on the back you'll have your definition. And you could place this on the floor or on the table and have the words facing you. So you only see the words. And every time you get it correct, you could move it to the left saying, I got this right. But every time you get it wrong, and the way you lay these on the table or on the floor is just run right next to each other like this. So once you get this one correct, it'll go over there. But if you get it wrong, it goes behind and at the end of the line, basically meaning you'll come back to it. And that'll happen every time. And if you want, on a sheet of paper, like a scratch sheet of paper, you could tally how many times you had to basically put one word at the end of the line before you got it correct, to see which one do you really have to focus more. And you could do this like depending when your test is, either like every day or every week or twice a week, to see your progress throughout your class. Oh, and a major thing is don't study the day before the test. No, you want to study basically once you start your new unit, or your new unit. But I forgot bringing it down, but that's all right. If you don't want to use flashcards, I'm just going to show it how to do it on a flashcard, but you would take a sheet of paper, like lined paper or even printed paper, and you'll fold it in half. And if you want, you could, so if you have it folded in half, you could cut it if you want and have a word here, and then you like open it to have the definition. Or you could have it where you fold the paper behind itself instead of in front. for the first example, you would have to do in front. So if you were to go behind, then you would just fold it, have your definition, and then your word definition on the back, and then just flip it if you don't want to cut. So that's another example. But if you don't want to make anything or you don't want to use paper, that's totally fine. Another example that you could do is always make a Quizlet. And the reason why I prefer Quizlet sometimes is because one, is kind of easier to type everything than hand write everything, even though I do suggest handwriting because you tend to remember more when you're like physically writing the words instead of typing, but it just depends on what type of learner you are. And not every way is going to work for you. Some of the times, the few things I suggested work for me, other times not so much. But when I use Quizlet, there's like different games. And that's one thing I like is because when you put in a word in your definition, there's like a thing called Learn It, or where you just basically typing the definition or the word depending on the setting you have it. So, and then I think there's like a Meteorite game where you have to type in the word before it gets to like the bottom of your screen. And that's like, if you're a gamer, that's a nice way to learn. And it's fun because in a way, you somewhat forget that you're learning because you're having fun, but at the same time you are learning. So yeah. But if you don't, what was I gonna say? Oh, right. Another tactic is that you could reread your reading assignments or any reading that your teacher gave you or any reading. It doesn't have to be like assigned, but just that it was provided to you or you found it somewhere. And summarize each paragraph to like 1 to 3 sentences in your own words, because when you summarize, even if it's a sentence per paragraph, that you are basically putting the information of this chapter, this unit into your own words, making it easier for you to memorize it, because when you put it into your own words, you almost likely, it's easier for you to memorize it than just memorizing every word that someone else wrote. And that won't be very helpful if you have like an essay coming up. So yeah. But another thing is, while you're reading your assignments or rereading, you could also have sticky notes and write important events and key topics or information that your teachers say, hey, you might want to write this down because it possibly will be on the test. And if a teacher says that, that means it most likely will be on the test. But many people won't write it down. And when you do, you may be a handful of people that get that right on the test. So, yeah. And then, yeah. So those were my 4 major topics of how to prepare for your test. I'll just remind you all what they were. So rewrite your notes with blue pen if you just like to have everything in one color, or use like a color or have a color key to help you memorize it, because sometimes color just helps you memorize things more, especially when each color has a meaning. When you're using color to study different colors, make sure that each color has a purpose and you're not just doing it to make it look pretty. Because yes, you can make your notes look nice and everything, but the purpose of why I like highlight in different colors or write in different pen colors, is because to me each color has a meaning, and it's just easier for me to, like, if I have to find a definition, then I look for dark red and for the word, and the definition will actually be in a shade of green. and I just memorize it like that. Or for when it comes to things in parentheses, I use dark blue, or anything highlighted, anything that was originally bolded in the text, I would do in light blue, saying that the reading found this thing important. So yeah. And then the next tactic was, again, the flashcards, or having a piece of paper and folding it in half, using scissors if you fold it forward, having the word and then the definition underneath, or when you fold it backwards and just not use scissors. Same thing, word on top and then definition on the bottom. Or just using Quizlet and trying out the different games, seeing which game works for you and which one is more productive for you, because sometimes the games are games, but like sometimes you could lose the meaning, the purpose of why you're actually doing it. So sometimes one thing may work for one thing, but for another not so much. And then rereading your assignments, and to make sure, one, you're refreshing the stuff that you learned at the beginning of the unit chapter and connecting it towards the information you now have at the end of the chapter, and then having your sticky notes handy, especially during class, or just always have sticky notes next to you, because you never know when you're gonna need a sticky note. So yeah, so those are the study tips I have. If I have more, I'll make sure to make a video about it, but please subscribe for more videos. Like yesterday, it was Monday, so there was a video about God. And then I also did another live yesterday, which y'all should go check out, is basically how to make sure you have enough money for your life. And then Saturdays, those are like my random upload days where there's like a random video. Lately, it's been spoken word. And once in a while, I may go live. So yeah. So if you want to be notified when I go live, be sure to hit the notification bell and leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. And please comment what you found helpful, if you found any of these study tips helpful, or if you have any of your own study tips that you would like to share, or for me to like add into another study video. So yeah, bye y'all, and have a great day, and God loves you. Bye.